properties that are really important, obviously. Twitter and Facebook and YouTube are all important, and LinkedIn can be very important too. And that's a kind of steady, basic process. But there's other opportunities too, as we've heard today, with Foursquare and other properties. But starting with the basics is very important.
One thing that is also important, now that we understood the social web and what people are talking about, now that we know what we want to do, it is sales. Now that we know the data and we know where to find our influencers, we need to get the team on board. And although Mr. Edison didn't embrace rules that much as we can read here, I really suggest that you first get the team on board by creating guidelines or a social media policy which allows everybody to understand what it is that you want to do. And then it's time to act. And we heard it in the last presentation as well, what the role of people is, you know. I mean, technology is a means, but at the end of the day, people are using these tools to reach other human beings. And that's why it's really important that you gather a passionate team of people and you not just outsource your efforts to an agency. I mean, we are consulting, right? So we would love to help and take over some parts of the pain, you know. And we do, but in the long run, you have to do it yourself. We try to help for self-help. So it is really important that you gather a passionate team of people who can deliver to the customer's needs. And look, talking about people, new roles have emerged, and one of them is the social media manager. I grew into this role at Mercedes-Benz by accident, let's say. We never defined the job description of this job. I was asked to pioneer, and I had the opportunity to do that, and it was fun. I was a one-man show in the beginning, a white piece of paper, and then guys like Gary Vaynerchuk and other people, and I looked what they're doing, and I tried to make sense for the brand of Mercedes-Benz, how to tap into that. What is the role of the social media manager? I like to use the picture of a bridge that, you know, connects the inside and the outside of a business. He's also a translator, because the customer voice and the user voice is not always what the engineer or the product manager wants to hear or will understand. So he's kind of a filter. He's translating. If the customer say, hey, this product feature sucks, then he might put it in a way that the product manager who loves this product so much doesn't reject it, but embrace it as an improvement. And yeah, it's, for me, one of the key roles in social media engagement. If you want to move forward, make sure that you define one person that connects the dots, that is the bridge and translates. And also, really, really important, and that's what I experienced myself, change maker. He's a change maker as well. Imagine now you're in a corporate world where certain rules apply. There's a certain understanding of metrics and how we measure success. We've heard a lot about the return on investment and the way we did things in the past, you know. And now there's the social media manager who needs to make sense out of, for example, why it is so important to use Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube to be in touch with your customer. And it's not done by just applying the knowledge we had of the past. And one other example is, if you just try to measure success with the means and the ways we did in the past, then you will fail, because it's different. One example is, and this is from a CEO at a fashion company. He was like really pissed off. You know what? Now we have a team 6 months working on our social media efforts, and you know what? We still have just 40,000 fans on Facebook. Our competitors got millions. What's happening there? And then the social media manager could dive a little bit deeper into that. And what the result was that with a lower fan base, they reached more people than the bigger brand with millions of fans, because they looked at the interaction rates. People, that was an engaged community. They really cared. They contributed. They liked. They commented. They shared. They invited friends. Versus the million fans who were kind of fan zombies, who were gathered with sweepstakes, you know, win the next iPad or whatever. So there's a difference, and we need to look deeper into it. Now, I would like to pass to you again to tell us what it is to learn and adapt.
Sure. Go ahead, you can. Yeah. So that spreadsheet that you saw earlier that was taken out of the worldwide mind can then be brought into control panels. Let's talk about Radian 6. Let's talk about TweetDeck. Let's talk about Hootsuite. These are examples of bringing together intelligence with control panels. Some basic names. Lots of others on the market too. The point of this Operations Center here is to take all of that intelligence and then engage. I'm engaging in this pool of customers. I'm engaging with these warm leads over here. That spreadsheet you saw earlier was a list of warm leads. Hi, Mr. CFO. Hello, social media consultant. What have you got for me today? I've got a list of 100,000 warm leads. Come on in. That's really what the CFO wants to hear. Where are the warm leads?
And tools are also there to simplify our life. I mean, when you start engaging, it gets more and more complicated, and there's a lot of really cool tools out there which you should use.
So obviously, wherever you are in the world, regionally, I'm working in about 5 continents at this point with my company, I have to adapt what platform I'm using. And as I asked earlier, for those of you that were here to Gary, do I need 8 community managers who are speaking in different languages? I think so. We need to adapt to where we are regionally, and we need to adapt our budgets accordingly. And then finally, this is a fantastic graphic from an agency, graphic agency, Just 3 in California, and used by a colleague of mine, Brian Solis, to demonstrate the difference between the old school marketers, that's the blue arrows, who are broadcasting, they're marketeers, they've got too much information, they're like socialites, right? I mean, they're like ego casters, they're climbing up the ladder, versus the white arrows, where I'm a resource, where I'm producing something, where I'm engaging in a conversation with someone as a conversationalist, where I'm providing an answer to a question that someone has. That's the difference. Being the white arrows brings us to the center of the heart, which is about benevolence. You're giving something. That's been said a lot today. When you listen to a conversation to somebody first for about 15 minutes, they feel loved and accepted. And then when you say to them, hey, I heard you say this and this and this, and as a result, I'd like to give you this and this. When a brand does that, that's pretty sexy, just like it is in a relationship. You do it.
Okay, summing this up, we've seen the steps that you have to take. We first start with listening, gathering data. From there, we use the data and choose how we want to use the social web for our business, which is the strategy. Once we have the strategy, we get the team on board, and then we only enter. Don't make the mistake to take the last step before the first step. When you enter, be flexible, learn. It's a vivid surrounding. There are communities that talk to you, and that's basically the difference. That's what scares us, you know. There's feedback. But use this, embrace it. And yes, we are not 100% always because we're human beings, but embrace it as a mean and a way to improve your business and your product. And invite the customer to be part of it. I'd like to mention the prosumer, you know, the consumer who is part of production, who can bring in ideas. Imagine if he's part of the engineering process, he has already bought into the product before he can buy it, you know, and he will make sure that the people and friends around him will know when the product is available, and that he was part of the production. This chart should remind us about one thing, which is, yes, it is very important to be creative. This is the bread and butter of our job, right? To be creative. But social media engagement is an ongoing process, as we mentioned already, and this is the basis. And use creativity to create buzz, to create lighthouse, the lighthouse effect, to shine and bring your brand to the awareness and attention of new customers, broader audiences. But what is the foundation is really the basic social media engagement. It's not only the creative process. Saying that, we are coming to the end, and I'd like to use your slogan, the Google page slogan, which we love, that businesses don't make customers happy, people do. And no matter if we use technology for marketing or we are on the customer side researching stuff, the human being is the last mile. Please keep this in mind. Thank you. We would also be happy to invite you tomorrow to our workshop, where we really get deeper into the step-by-step approach with real facts and figures from our experience with other clients. So make sure to be there.